Hello again, guys. Jay back here with Eastern Shore Talk Around Town, and we are with Miss Terry down at Healing Grounds Coffee in St. Michael's. Thanks for joining us, Terry. And our first question is, what does self-care mean to you?
Self-care is when you take the time to focus on yourself totally and let everything else go, and you figure out something that works for you, and you take the 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 1 minute, whatever it is, to do it for yourself.
And what's one thing you do for self-care?
Meditate. Most of the time, almost every morning, I meditate and pray in the morning, and find things that I'm grateful for every day. Sometimes they're the same, sometimes they're different, but it helps me start my day and just see the world as a much better place, and to be thankful for what I have.
Awesome. And last question, what's something you've been watching lately that you've enjoyed?
We watch Love Island a lot. Probably some junky things you don't have to think a lot about. But anytime there's a really good murder mystery or serial killer show, that's what I'm watching too.
Awesome. Thanks for joining us. And guys, check us out next time on Eastern Shore Talk Around Town. Take care, guys. What's up, guys? Welcome back to Eastern Shore Talk, your podcast for all things self-care and movies. If this is your first time tuning in, welcome. We're glad to have you. We are on episode 38. I'm Jay Watson.
And I'm Cathy Cassell.
And I'm Dylan Cassell.
And we've got a surprise guest. Dylan Cassell's joining us. He just kind of popped on the screen when Cathy joined me for recording. And Cathy's kids are always welcome. Dylan's been on with us a couple times, and glad to have him back again.
Yeah, thank you.
You're a regular.
Yeah, I don't know why I introduced my name so weird, but here we are.
You're a recurring guest at this point.
Glad to be back.
You're an OG guest.
You might have more appearances than Liza. You and Liza are probably right there neck and neck for.
Actually, that's good company to be in. You know.
There you go. So what I thought we'd talk about today, since it's Thanksgiving Eve, is we're just going to all talk about some things we're thankful for. We're also going to talk about Cathy and I got the chance this past weekend to see Wicked. Dylan hasn't seen it yet, so we'll try not to spoil it too much, but we're going to talk about that and talk about some other stuff that we've been watching lately. But first of all, we're going to do as we normally do and do a little check-in. So what's been going on in the Castle?
The Castle.
That's a good way to put it. Yeah.
I know. So I don't know if you saw my Facebook post, Jay, but I did a so we decided that we were going to decorate for Christmas now. So we're all in. We're an all-in family. And as Dylan says, we like illumination.
Yeah.
And we like thanks. So because Thanksgiving is late this year, we decided to do it early so we can have the full month of of the Christmas stuff.
Good.
So I did a whole list, 8 points, book about observations. Did you see it?
I did actually. I'm on the Facebooks. Yeah.
It was funny, right? He's on the book. On the book.
I am.
Yeah. To include that Marty and I, every holiday season, he's OCD about things. I think the tree's leaning. I think the tree's too close to the curtains. I'm like, for the love of God, push the tree back. It's okay. And then, as you're telling me to watch The Voice last night, because I need that weekly reminder, I realized that I'm by myself while everybody is around me watching the Ravens game, not helping me with the tree.
Well,
and I'm like, here's the sentimental birth ornament. Do you want to place it? I think that's all everybody did. But Brenna did feel sorry for me, and eventually was like, Mom, I'll help you.
Right.
Anyway, and then the house was all dusty. Had to use a Navage to get it out of my sinuses. It was a whole thing. That's been our week.
Yeah.
Happy times, right?
Well, that was mistake one, was decorating during the Ravens game.
Yeah.
Participation there.
We're
all locked in
right?
on them all, yeah.
Yeah.
But I tried. At least I put my teddy bear one up for like the
birth ornament.
Yeah.
Everybody has a birth ornament
So
of a bear.
I did my due diligence there, I think. I don't know.
Yeah, all right.
Yeah, she did good.
So
you
guess
did good.
what?
I'll give you credit. You did good.
You're taking the stuff down.
Well, that's
What would be your check-in?
We'll bridge that when we get there.
All right. What's your check-in?
Um,
How's your week?
Short week of school, so that's a plus. I mean, I kind of just I don't really got much going on. I'm kind of just taking the day at a time. getting ready for Thanksgiving. Yeah, I mean, I pretty much just go to the gym now and just whatever. Watch a lot of sports.
How did you like Chris Moore the other night?
Oh, I thought Chris was very good. He's a very cool guy.
Yeah,
I'm pretty happy that I get the chance to talk to him a couple times and know him because yeah, he's a very respected guy, and I think he's pretty cool. But I think it was a very good. Thought it was very good that he had. Hopefully, it's helping. Yeah, just a cool thing to hear him speak. Because he knows a lot about the industry and he's pretty respected, like I said. So
yeah. It's funny, Kathy. I don't know Chris nearly as well as you do, so I didn't realize that he was as funny as he is. He's
He is
very,
funny. He's kind
yeah,
of a dry kind of,
just kind of
yeah,
straightforward, very quick witted. Yeah,
yeah. He is a
um,
funny guy,
but he's
actually.
also he was kind of he was using the appearance at Oxford to kind of reach out to the audience, so the audience could let him know, hey, what can we do in the movie industry to let you know when movies are coming out, or what can we do to advertise better? And he also explained kind of how the business side works and how what goes into what determines what movies get made next. It was I really enjoyed it. It was really good.
But I like what so so people don't know Chris Moore. He has been in Hollywood as a producer for a lot of years, probably 35 years ish, and his wife is also a producer. But their industry has changed. He works with a lot of the major companies, but if his company is taking scripts to sold to major companies, like what is going to make a movie popular, or what's going to make people want to see that movie? So
Yes.
I mean, I really respect that he's trying to research the public and
mm-hmm.
going to colleges and different things to find out what's going to bring you back, what's going to bring you to the theater, because our TVs have gotten bigger, so it's sometimes it might be more appealing to sit in your comfy
say living room is more
living
comfy.
room.
Well, bigger and yet smaller because so many people watching the phones, and he talked about that also.
These kids do. I don't.
Uh,
These kids are glued to it.
I'd rather not, but I have had situations where I'm like at work or whatever. I'm like, oh, let me check this out for a little bit. But other than that, no.
I'm all into the movies. I did upgrade at the Eastern Movie Theater my 2024 popcorn pots to the 2025. I always enjoy that every year when it's time to upgrade.
There you go.
Because then you get your then you get your cheap refill. It's a way to, bargain the movies.
a little bit, yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that kind of leads into what I wanted to talk about. Kind of my check-in. It was, um, so yeah, Chris came last Thursday and spoke at the Oxford Community Center, and he also had a group of people that all went out afterwards. You all went out to dinner, and I had originally planned to be a part of that dinner after the event. Um, I started feeling a little under the weather the day before, so because of that, and what I'm about to talk about, which kind of leads into the topic we're talking about tonight with gratitude. It's kind of roundabout, but bear with me. So, Cathy reached out to me and said, "Hey, here's the menu. What looks good to eat?" And I'm like, Cathy, I don't think I'm going to make it." She's like, "Everything okay?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm just feeling a little out of sorts, just not under the weather a little bit." And Cathy, being a good friend, she said, "Like headspace or like illness?" And I said, "A little bit of both," and it was. And I'm still kind of getting over a little bit of the head cold, so I'm still not quite back to normal there. And I'm one of those people when I get sick, I want to be absolutely left alone. I mean, I'm like that kind of anyway, but even more so.
It brings out the true introvert,
Yeah,
right?
it really goes back to my original introverted roots. And like
Yeah.
so there was that, but it was also, it's funny when like the idea of this dinner first came up, I was like really excited about it. I'm like, oh, this could be really cool and fun and some great conversation about movies or whatever. And I was initially looking forward to it. But as it got closer, my anxiety started to creep in. And I'm thinking, a lot of these people, even though I went to school with a lot of these people, I don't know them.
Mhm.
So I was that whole, sitting down in a somewhat larger group of people where I'm expected to be social,
In a
that whole
small
fear,
restaurant.
that whole fear kind of like started creeping back again. As it got closer to that night, I'm just like, I can't do it. And feeling under the weather was kind of the what tipped me over the edge. And where the feeling thankful comes in is that 10 years ago I would have never even entertained the idea of going to this dinner. I would have been like, nope, right from the get go, never gave it a thought, have been fine. But the fact that I was like up for it initially until my anxiety gets the best of me is like is to me for me is a big step, and so I'm thankful for that. But as I'm sitting there, I'm like, it's funny. After we left the community center that night, and I'm driving home, I'm thinking, man, I was like on the fence. I'm like, I'm kind of regretting not going, but I'm kind of glad I didn't go. So that's progress because
Yeah.
I kind of take it like this, Cathy, and I kind of grade myself like this, and I put things into three categories. It's either unhealthy, healthy, or neutral. And a lot of the unhealthy stuff, the trauma response, and all that stuff would have driven me immediately away from this, the dinner.
Yeah.
But the fact that I thought about it and was like seriously considering it, and even felt a little bit of regret as I'm driving home that night, kind of has me what I call my neutral. Um, I'm glad that I'm not to a point where I would have felt like I was missing out socially, like I needed the presence of other people in an unhealthy way. So I'm glad, I'm thankful that I'm kind of evolved to the neutral in the situation. I have more work to do so that I can be more on the healthy side more often. Um, but I don't, and this is going to sound, and I'm not saying this to put myself down. This is just the reality of who I am. I don't really have the skill set to sit down in a situation like we would have had at dinner and been productive as a member of the conversation because I would have shrunk. I would have been like, don't talk to me. I'm just going to kind of back up into my chair and shrivel down. And so I probably, I would have felt like I would have did a disservice to the environment of the whole conversation. Not that anybody would have felt bad or been offended or anything like that, but um, because of my trauma and having self isolated for so long, I never acquired the skills to be able to do that. And then it kind of the flip the pendulum kind of swung in the other direction where it's like because I don't require fulfillment from groups like some people do. And I'm not saying it's right or wrong. Everybody kind of goes about it a different way. It's
Sure.
not a right or wrong thing. Just for me, I don't require that, so I don't seek it out. Um, so those two things, not having the skill set
Yeah.
and not requiring it, kind of it kind of leaves me on the outside looking in, partly for good reasons, partly for bad reasons, if that makes any sense. But it's kind of a long-winded way to say I'm thankful that I'm in a place where I could even consider doing things like that, or
Mhm.
consider when we were doing the in-person groups, things like that. So I just wanted to talk about kind of that anxiety that I had leading up to the anticipation of going to that dinner. Whereas when it was initially brought up it was brought up to us a month before for 3 weeks, I was excited. But as it got closer, just like when I did the tabling event at Ottawa, the first one
Yeah.
I did, I was excited. And as it got closer, I was like, "Ooh!" I even told you, I said, "Cathy, I got imposter syndrome, and I'm feeling anxiety, and this, that, and the other." It was kind of like that with this, minus the imposter syndrome. I just didn't feel like I'm just like I know me. I'll shrink. I'll just sit there and nod, listen, and not really say much, and just not be a productive participant in the conversation. Um,
I'll tell you how it went. It's kind of funny. I mean, you're setting up this situation, and I'm glad you're talking about that because I'm sure there's a lot of people that feel like that every single day.
Yeah.
Rather it's something their significant other has drugged them to, or their families have drugged them to, and they're like, "Oh, I'm not people
I don't
here. I'm not."
fit. Yeah. Yep.
But I'm glad that you considered it, and I got your back. I'm gonna be
Of
your
course.
wingman, whatever. But here's how it went. You're gonna laugh at this. So it's a very small room. So this is an after dinner. There was a lot of maybe 25 people it ended up being, and it was some board members and probably significant friends of the community center,
Hmm.
and then Chris, and then friends, right? So it was kind of a U shape, but not really a U shape, like a really small C, maybe, like a
Right.
I
Hmm.
don't know what I'm saying. But anyway, I'm not doing very good
I
with
wasn't there.
descriptions. You weren't there. So everybody went around and introduced themselves and said how they knew Chris. So that was the moment you're on the spot where somebody said, "Oh, friend," or "Oh, we're a board member of the OCC," or whatever. So we did that. Chris said a little bit of a spiel, and then we kind of went into our own little subgroups.
Mm.
So you either are going to laugh at this or not. And then it was like me and Marty and Twig, Bruce, and our new buddy Dennis, and they were like, "All right, Dennis, what we really want to know is, do you think P Diddy is guilty?" So then
Right.
we got into the P Diddy conversation. Yeah, so that's real mature of us, right?
Right.
So while Chris is having the grown up conversations with appropriate people, we're like, okay, we already talked to Chris. Let's get to the real deal.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Like,
so it was
That
kind
sounds
of,
like Twig. That sounds exactly like something Twig would do.
we were like, what? Who was there? Anyway, it was a good night, and I'm glad that you went to the event. And Chris obviously is very appreciative of you, Jay, and respectful of you and this podcast, and willing to tie movies into mental health, and that's a good thing.
Yeah,
I
and
do.
I'm super thankful. Real quick before you guys talk about you're thankful, I'm super thankful for Chris in um, having come on a couple times and just being very supportive. We talked after he did his event in Oxford, and he said, "If there's anything I can do, let me know. I like what you guys are doing. Keep up the good work." So, I'm thankful for that. And we've had a little bit of exchange, him and I, with emails. So we've kind of built a little bit of a more of a friendship than we had. We were pretty much just acquaintances
Yeah,
previously. Um, so that's all. That's always a good thing, and I'm thankful for that. And he's just a good guy, and so yeah.
he's a great guy. I do want to, this is obviously a conversation, and I didn't plan on talking about this, but let me just add this as a side note. Um, I think I've shared this with you too, Jay, that I'm part of a suicide prevention coalition,
Yep.
um, the Midshore Suicide Prevention Coalition. So anyway, and I'm pretty passionate about suicide education and prevention and getting all the partners together. There's so many groups out there doing good work, and we're all concerned about the same thing, helping people feel better and saving lives, right? So I'm really excited because today we had a meeting, and I felt like some of our goals for the spring are very Eastern Shore Talks centered. It was a lot about self-care. We're going to do a lot about self-care. And I think I told you I did a training called Struggle Well. And it's really a training that's geared toward first responders. It came, and it's very research based, and it came into play to help veterans at first with PTSD, and now it's extended to the first responder community. But I love it. It's called, you can look it up, Struggle Well. It's by Boulder Crest, but it's good material, and we're going to extend that to first responders sometime probably in March, a training. But I think we're going to do some community events that really talk about how to self-regulate and how to build a good self-care plan, because at the end of the day, practicing self-care, we say this all the time, it all comes back to self-care, helps you in so many other aspects of your life. So when I get that going, I'd love for you to be part of that, Jay, because
Absolutely. Yeah. For
that
sure.
too. I mean, it's good stuff. People are talking about it. It's exciting, and And I'll share one more thing. And I am thankful for this group, this podcast, because one of my coworkers said to me, Cathy, I've noticed something about you. I feel like you are the calmest I've ever seen you. She's worked with me for a very long time. Like, I feel like you are handling things. You know, I lead an agency. I have 4 kids. You know, she said, I feel like you're handling things better than you ever have emotionally, if you know what I mean. And I thought, one, thank you. And two, I really owe a lot to us having weekly conversations and you and I sharing things, researching things, talking about things. I think it's helping me personally self-regulate. So we're all growing every day. And
I know for sure, Kathy. I appreciate you saying that because I feel the exact same way. Um, and for me, as an extension of that, it provides me an outlet to just because I'm one who, whatever it is I'm feeling, good, bad, or whatever, if I can just get it out, that goes a long way for me to kind of center myself in a better place,
it's
whatever
like
I'm
a
going through.
confessional. It's the confessional. You can be nicer to other humans if you get it out, right?
And it's just like, and Dylan, you might kind of appreciate this. It's just like how I schedule certain days of the week where I go to the gym. Tuesdays at 5:30 is although we're talking about self care, it is actually self care for me, and I'm sure
Right.
Kathy, you feel the same.
100%.
Not and it's logistically as we're talking, we're providing self care tips, but we're providing self care to ourselves. Yes, um,
Maybe
it,
you need self-care. That's why you want to come on.
Yeah, wow, yeah.
it's just I'm so thankful for it's been one of the things that's helped me come out of my shell just because I've learned how to express and talk and not be nervous about being recorded and things like that, and that goes a long way towards me in small doses being out in public and being social to strangers and things like that. Doing the podcast is part of that. When we had the in-person groups, that was part of that growth for me, and I learn something almost every time we talk, especially when we have a guest who um, talks about a specific area of self care. I love that. Um, and I'm sure, as we've talked about, everybody's self care items are different. So the more guests we can come on that hit different categories of self care, that's always a good thing. Because I just love learn. I'm a information sponge anyway. So the more I can learn about different areas of self care that I may not know much about,
Right.
that's great. So yes, I echo your thoughts about being extremely thankful about the podcast. And as I've told you many, 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 many times, I'm so thankful for you for taking my a year and a half ago now, what might have sounded like a moonshot of an idea of doing this thing called Eastern Shore Talk and not even hesitating and saying, yes, let's do it, and how it's kind of evolved into the podcast and kind of we're really starting to find our footing in that way to provide this information and this conversation to the community. Um, I could not be more thankful for you, your family who's come on and has been supportive of Eastern Shore Talk. I kid with you all the time. We're on a lot of our viewers there's more male viewers than I anticipated. And I kid with you and I said that's all the men in your house are watching the podcast. That's why we have such a high male demographic. So
Yeah.
I appreciate Dylan and Tristan and Jaden for all coming on. We'll have to get Brendan one of these times. He's the only one who hasn't come on yet.
We got to get Brennan. He's the introvert too. We got to pull him out, right?
Marty's coming on right after the first of the year to talk about New Year's resolutions and why we don't stick to them and that kind of thing. So Brennan will be the lone wolf of the castle that hadn't been on yet. So, and I'm just thankful for our growing friendship. We've known each other for 40 plus 45 years or whatever it is. We've always been friends, but we've as we've opened up not only here but in personal conversations, we've both learned more about each other and kind of have grown to understand, and our friendship's grown. And I could not value our friendship more, and I'm extremely thankful for that.
My first memory is like we were 5.
Really?
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Mount Pleasant, where the Board of Ed is now. That's where I met you.
It's
And we've always been friends. Jay's always made me laugh.
yeah.
And I'm always been grateful for that laughter, even though that wasn't maybe that was his way of covering up some of the hard times he was going through. But
For
darn,
sure.
Jay would make me laugh.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, I'm still funny as heck
Yeah.
now, but it comes from a healthier place now. I don't do it to hide. I just do it to kind of engage now. So yeah.
I need to make you a teacher. I'm still funny. It comes from a healthier place.
Yeah.
It's a good
Yeah, it's a
T-shirt
good
idea.
t-shirt,
Actually,
yeah.
yeah.
Oh, I can make t-shirts now. Just saying, that's another conversation. I have a cricket.
Wow.
Jay, yeah,
That's a problem.
it is a problem.
But yeah, to piggyback off of what both of you guys said, and obviously I've been on, I don't know, 5 maybe episodes. I'm not
Yeah.
really sure, but I definitely, because I was on a couple earlier ones and now here, and I definitely have noticed growth. In the podcast, both production and viewing and just general layout and just the conversation, because I do watch when I can, because I think it's a very
That's a
I'll tell you, it's a male demographic right there.
because I think it's a
Yeah.
very cool thing what you guys do here, and
Oh,
Jay, I do respect the hard work, the consistency, the idea, and how you are you're vulnerable sometimes to get out, because I think that a lot of specifically men
Mm-hmm.
aren't going to be the first ones to talk about mental health, but sometimes they could be the most they can need it the most. So I
Yeah.
think that you being someone that can talk about it, maybe you never know who this will help, you never
Yeah.
know who will find this or see this. So I think it's very cool that you guys do this, and I'm thankful that I can be a part of this a little bit, and try to help this grow. But I just think it's a very cool thing that what you guys do, and again, I think it's very helpful, and
nice.
I think that I appreciate her, but I appreciate you as well for letting me be on here.
Well, I appreciate you saying that, Dylan, and I'm glad that you've noticed how the production and the presentation and just the overall value of what we're doing has grown as we've figured out how to do it, because
Yeah,
neither one of us knew a
That's
thing about it.
Oh, screw them.
Um,
But
but
we
yeah,
are looking for sponsors. We want to open up merch.
But I do think it's it's a very serious production here. I think if you're gonna do something like this, I appreciate the hard work you put in, because I don't want it to go unnoticed. I think you work hard and you're passionate, and it's a very noble thing to have right there. So I just kudos to you.
I appreciate that, Dylan, and I'm glad someone in your age bracket. It's kind of, it's a testament to your parents that you kind of see the value of taking care of yourself, and are open to examples of trying to do things the right way, and it says a lot about Cathy, how you and Marty raised all your boys. But it makes me feel like I got a little bit of cool street cred to have somebody
Oh, absolutely.
18 is like, oh wow, somebody 18 thinks what I'm doing is cool in some way. That's like, it makes me feel a little good.
Absolutely, you got cred for sure.
And he's a connoisseur of video. He's
No,
an
I honestly
expert.
think-
So
Obviously, when I first started the couple, like I knew you a little bit, but we didn't really have a lot of dialogue. But
Yeah.
I feel like a lot more in common than I really thought.
Yeah.
I think I think
you
it
have
works
things
here.
in common with an 18-year-old.
Well, that's not really that crazy because I'm a big kid at heart anyway. So that's not.
Always be. Never change
Absolutely,
that.
yeah.
Always be a kid at heart. Always.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what else, Cathy? What let me ask you this, Cathy, because I'll let you talk about some personal things that you're thankful for, but keep this question in the back of your mind because it kind of goes with kind of what Easter Shore Talk is about. So my question would be, in addition to family and your career and things like that, which I'll let you talk about how you feel about that, but what are you thankful for about Cathy, the individual, like the internal Cathy?
That's a great question.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like, what are you thankful for about
Answer?
not the roles that Cathy is, but Cathy, the individual?
Do you want me to answer? I could answer that right now.
Both. I want to hear both parts of your.
Was there two questions?
Well,
Just what you're really thankful
what are you generally thankful for? And then the second part, the more deeper part, is with the individual Cathy. What's that person thankful for?
Let me answer. I'll answer the second one first. Then I'm
Okay.
gonna forget. I'll say, what was the other question? I'm like Dory on
That's all
what?
right.
Who
Yeah.
am I?
And the same question for you, Dylan, when she gets
Um,
finished.
Okay. It's in the vault. I got it.
So, I do believe in self reflection, and I think that's a big part of self care. So, I do take some time to really think about things and incorporate some reflection. So, I would say, what should I say? I'm proud of, or I strive for, is I want to be, service is in my blood, right? Helping other people is just in my blood. Um, I am actually very thankful. Like, my story is my parents were very young when they had me. I was clearly an accident. My parents were young. They did not have a lot of money, and I didn't know any different. So I was very happy and very loved, but I didn't know that we didn't have a lot of things because I felt like we had a lot of things. So I'm kind of grateful that that's how I grew up. And my brother's 10 years younger than me. So I had to entertain myself for a lot of those years, right? Until things came around. We had 3 channels and whatever on TV, but so I got a good imagination very quickly. I had a lot of good role models. My grandmother, my dad's mom was very into cooking. So I think I've always been like a sponge, and I've tried to pick up the good aspects from people. And I try to be I've always tried to be a glass half full person, not a glass half empty. Now, the downside of that, my fault of that is when I realize the world's really not like that, I'm like, then I'm mad, right? So I've had to use my self care to really not stay mad. But I don't even know if I'm answering this very well. So
Yep.
I just feel like I'm happy that I, as a person, like to see things half full. I'm glad that I do want to help other people. I'm glad that I have a ton of wonderful people in my life. I have a ton of wonderful people. I have a family. I never thought I'd have 4 kids, but they're all boys. So you can imagine I was trying to get the girl, and now that I'm like, I don't even understand girls. Most of my friends probably are guys. So outside of Twig, right? But so I don't know. I feel very blessed. I feel very fortunate. I want to live till I'm like 200 years old. I'm happy to be on this planet. I know there's a lot of good and there's a lot of bad, but I'm going to try my darndest to always look for the good. I'm very grateful for nature. Nature has been something that I probably always loved, but maybe didn't realize how important it was to me, to hear birds or to feel sunshine on my face, or um, to feel a cool wind. Well, I probably like the warm wind though better, honestly. To know what a palm tree does to me and water, looking at water does to me. So I'm thankful for the medicine of nature. I'm thankful for what's got me to today. I know that life is very special and that I'm lucky that I'm in it and I'm right here. And I am so thankful for Easton. I'm a proud class of 85 Eastern warrior.
Yeah.
You can never tell me that there's a better group of people than the class of 85. We have good music.
Yep.
Yeah. I don't know if I answered those
You
very
did.
well.
Yeah.
It's rambled, I think, but
No, you're good.
yeah.
Um, yeah. To kind of also answer, um, I think just generally, grateful. Obviously, I have a very loving mom, dad, 3, brothers that I look up to every day and that I learn from every day, and that have been, the best brothers.
You
That
got a bond.
I know. Yeah, I have learned a lot from them, and I
Not
appreciate
all
that,
good.
cherish that. No, good and bad. Yeah, you take the notes, you write the good, the bad. You learn from their mistakes, but
I hope so.
you also, see what they do. And hold up, that's my thing.
Is that your diabetes
Yeah,
guy?
hold up.
He's beeping. Hold on. He's
You're
beeping.
good. You need to take care of yourself.
He's beeping.
That's my thing.
You could throw that out the front door and let it beep to the neighbors.
Genuinely, it would be.
Dylan has a Dylan. If anybody is wondering what's beeping, Dylan's a type 1 diabetic. He's had that since he's 5, and which is an autoimmune disease. And out of the diabetics, only 5% are type 1. So his pancreas said, "I'm done, not producing insulin." So he has a pump, and he has a glucose monitor on him at all times. So the pump is gone. It's deciding that okay. I think he probably threw it in the garage. Did you throw it out?
No,
Did you put it outside?
I got it.
You killed it. Okay, he's back.
That's kind of ironic that happened. But yeah, I kind of figured it would. Anyway,
You're thankful for science.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's very.
Yes, we are. Very
I can definitely tie this in. I feel like yeah. I'm just thankful for the family, brothers, mom, dad. I have 2 sets of grandparents that are very loving and alive and well, and I appreciate them. Everything coming out the baseball games and support. Means a lot. Just generally, I got a good support group. Friends. Obviously I'm a senior now, so the senior class is tighter a little bit than in other years. Getting ready for the baseball season, that's a tight group. And then just like, I'm just, for the second part of that, what am I thankful like for me? Like, I'm still like trying to work on myself a little bit. Obviously I'm very young still, so I got time. And obviously I'm trying to figure out the world too a little bit, but I'm just trying to, kind of like, we're trying to find a way to I'm trying, to be grateful for the little things, I guess, and appreciate things, because obviously, not to be, pity, but obviously when I was 5, like she said, I had diabetic, peanut allergies, so just stuff like that, just medically. So obviously, from a young age, I could have been kind of down and let that hold me back, but I haven't. And I'm grateful for her for how she helped treat me. I'm grateful for Hopkins and the doctors and medicine and all of that. But I'm proud of my mindset that I haven't let that bring me down, let that stop me from doing things, and kind of always have hope a little bit. And it's kind of toughened me up a little bit, and I think that's in a good way. It's just adversity that I've had to deal with, and I'm grateful for that kind of adversity, because I think it's made me a stronger person today and changed my mindset. But I'm still trying to focus on appreciating the little things, finding, my happy place, my places to detox, how to deal with stress.
Nice.
I'm still trying to learn, being young, obviously, but I think right now I'm growing. I'm in a place that I'm happy. My mindset's good. I'm just trying to grow as much as I can, but I'm grateful for the people around me who really support me. To have the long answer there.
No. That's good. It's good that you had a lot to be thankful for. That's always awesome. I'll tell you, Dylan. I'm sorry, Kathy. Go ahead.
I'm so proud of. Obviously, he's my kid, and I'm proud of him. But
Nice,
even if you weren't my kid, I'd be proud of you, because things that you've said on this podcast, I don't know that everybody can say. You've done some work, and that's a big deal.
Yeah.
Well, I think Dylan, it seems like you've got your head on straight. You're at least trying to point in the right direction. None of us had very many answers at 18 years old.
We just still don't now. We don't always
Yeah.
have it now.
And those things that I loved how you called it detox, kind of you're trying to find those things that kind of get you in a better mindset, and that's what self-care is. Those things will change as you get older. Those things will evolve. Shoot, they might change 3 months from now, but it's good to kind of, whether you're 18 or 57, to kind of try new and different things. I would have never thought having a cup of hot tea would be part of my self-care, but it's a cool part of it.
Obviously it's mine. He
great.
loves it.
Yeah, every night, pretty much. Yeah.
I'm like, Dylan, yes.
You don't even have to ask me.
I want the tea. Hey, and he's a man after your own heart.
Black tea. Yep.
Absolutely.
Nice day.
Can't beat it. Yeah.
Yep. But keep just try new things, and just you're moving in the right direction. That that's all
Yeah,
I'll say.
appreciate it. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
One thing real quick that I wanted to talk about being thankful for before we switch into
Although I think we should do a lightning round. I think we do.
Yeah, right.
It could be fun. You
what
can
do you
you can
mean? What do you mean
you can
lightning
talk
round?
about what I think we should say. I think we should do a fun thing, even if it's 30 seconds, where we just quickly, rapidly fire what we're grateful for.
Okay.
I do, but go ahead. Bear with me. Go ahead and finish what you're going to say.
Well, I just wanted to say, and I've said this before, but it's worth reiterating because I think those of us who have gone through childhood trauma kind of there's a weight that never goes away, and part of how I've kind of uh, put that weight in a better place is that I'm thankful for the younger version of myself who suffered yet persevered and allowed me to get to be the person that I am today. So I just wanted to express that. And having come from a background of childhood sexual abuse, it's anxiety, depression, and PTSD, as I've said before,
Yeah.
have been my riding partners on my journey through life. And
Yeah.
yeah, my 6-year-old version of me is my hero because he put up
That's just you see it at the movies.
he he did all the work to allow me. He was much stronger than I am now. He got me to where I am now, so I'm thankful for that.
Good.
You're awesome, Jay.
What's your
Wait, I do want to do a game, but let me make sure I didn't.
uh,
Let me make sure I did. Always got an article. Always got an article.
what's production value? There it is.
Production. We can't see this. You can just see my face.
Yeah.
All right, here we go.
On our side. Yeah.
So 10 things. Let me make sure I say these real quick because I have an article. It's from mindful.org. Anyway, 10 things. Think about when you're doing, we're practicing thankful and gratitude. Some people keep a gratitude journal. Like I personally have one, but I don't use it all the time. But I will go in there periodically and just list out some things.
Mm-hmm.
Another thing it said was, in order to be grateful, we've got to remember the bad, remember the hard things. And that's just what you talked about, Jay. To be grateful, you can't just tuck it under the rug what has happened. You got to acknowledge what has happened, right? So you probably didn't even know, Jay. That's a good thing that you're doing.
We learn more from our struggles than we do from our victories.
Yeah.
And this is an interesting thing. This is ask yourself 3 questions. What have I received? What have I given to? And what troubles and difficulties have I caused? That's an interesting way to think about gratitude.
That goes to that self-reflection, Kathy.
Self-reflection.
Yeah, you got to come to terms with both the good and the bad that have happened. And sometimes we're the cause of bad to other people, even if we don't intend to affect other people. We just do. That's just unfortunately it's part of it.
What's our part in it?
Yeah.
Where are we in the toxic pool, right?
Yeah.
I do love that you said you got to detox. We need to add that to our self-care thing. Share your gratitude with others. That's what we're doing right now. That's a big research piece that sharing it is so helpful. The 5th one is come to your senses. And that's what I was talking about with nature. What do you see, touch, feel, hear, smell, right? That is gratitude. Use visual reminders. And I thought this was interesting. 2 primary obstacles to gratitude are forgetfulness and lack of mindful awareness. Right? Yeah. Visual reminders can serve as triggers or help us remember our gratitude. Make a vow to practice gratitude. Watch the language we're using. Are we using word like this is, we're so blessed for this, we're fortunate, yeah. We have an abundance of this. Go through the motions. Grateful motions include smiling, saying thank you, writing things. So practice what you preach, I guess, kind of thing. And think out of the box, right? Maybe there's different opportunities on how to be grateful. All right. That's it. I had to say that real quick. I always got to throw in an article. Now I got to find Jay again. There's Jay. Okay. All right. Yeah. What have I
Yep.
done?
Oh.
Oh.
You're
All
good.
right.
Okay.
Then I thought it would be fun. So if we're telling people these things, like practice gratitude, like let's do a little exercise.
Just making segments up. I like it.
Yeah, I'm
All
making
right.
segments up.
Sure.
What do you think we should do? So I think we should go around, and this could be funny too,
Okay.
right?
Okay.
I think we should time ourselves.
Okay.
I just made this
We're
up.
gonna have a timer on the telephone.
Yeah, I'm gonna find
Okay.
the timer. I need to find the timer. So should it be 30 seconds? Because
You can do a minute, 30 seconds.
you think I should do a
It's gonna be
minute?
I don't know what you're actually asking us.
Yeah, what are we doing exactly?
Where's it? Help me.
Look up the clock. It's the
Yeah.
app clock.
Is this clock?
No, that's set
All
a
right,
timer.
you do it.
Oh my goodness.
I need 1 minute. You find.
You want a minute?
I want a minute.
Okay. Oh wait, you had it. Never mind.
I had it.
I'm stupid. Okay.
All right.
Okay.
We got it. Okay, so here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna go with our timer, and we're gonna go around. Say what you're thankful for.
So
Like
the clock's gonna start at a minute. We're each gonna keep on going till
Yeah,
that
we're gonna
minute's
keep
up.
going around like a
Okay.
round robin.
Oh, like
Yeah, and nobody
Oh.
can be silent. You got to say something.
That's hard. That's a lot of
You
pressure.
got to do it. It's pressure. We got to do it.
Okay.
All right. So you say when.
You want to hit the starter? Well,
You
you
hit
start,
start.
then I'll go, then he'll go.
Okay.
Because
Here comes his finger. Ready, set.
nope.
Go.
Oh,
Oh,
that's the wrong
it's
one.
the wrong timer.
Hold on. Golly. All right, hold on.
All right.
Those of you who are watching on YouTube are really appreciating the ridiculousness of all this.
All right,
Yeah.
I'll start it. I'll hit
All right,
it.
all right,
Wait,
you go.
How do I do it?
Oh my
right here.
gosh.
Hold on. All right,
All
you
right,
lost
go.
a second.
Ready?
You go.
Go.
Okay. What are you grateful
Go.
for?
All right. I'm grateful for. This is oh my gosh, indoor plumbing. I don't know why this just came to my mind. Go ahead.
Wow. How to follow that up?
I'm grateful for the gym,
Yeah,
Jim.
I'm grateful for the Ravens.
Palm trees.
sunshine,
The ocean.
The water. Oh wait, the same
It's,
thing.
it's okay.
good health,
Family.
Hot tea.
this community,
Some good food. I'm grateful for that.
Warm weather.
cool weather,
I'm grateful for just baseball.
Amazing friends like Jay.
hot tea,
Um,
Go.
Money.
Money.
Hmm.
Cosmetics.
All right.
the movie theater,
See, a minute was a lot.
It's gone. Time's up. I'm the last plumbing or cosmetics.
As the first
I know,
one,
it was
indoor plumbing, the
grabbing.
first
I don't
one.
know. I thought it was
you
fun.
started with indoor plumbing and ended with cosmetics.
How do I follow that up?
If you had to go outside to the outhouse,
I know it's a fair point,
Then-
sure, but that's the first one on your
indoor
mind.
plumbing. Heck yeah.
Kathy makes up a game and then can't play the game herself.
5 seconds to think of something that says indoor plumbing. That's the answer of the year.
There
I
you
think
go.
that's part of it, though, the fun, the hilarity of it.
That's like Steve Harvey. Someone did that in Family Feud. Steve Harvey would like.
So I
leave.
think feel free to borrow that game I just made up and do it at your Thanksgiving table.
Yeah.
But here's what you ought to do. Here's a twist to it.
Okay.
You know that game where you start with the letter A and you go down the alphabet. You have to,
Oh right, yeah.
but
Oh,
you have to go through the alphabet, name something you're thankful for.
I'm thankful for apples. I'm thankful for.
Are you really?
No, we're just gonna play a quick round. B.
It's a tough
Bowling, like bowling.
Beach,
Beach.
I'm good for bowling.
All right, and C. Then we'll quit.
classic rock.
I thought you were gonna say cat.
Oh, that's a great answer.
That's a great.
But that's you could do that. Do it grateful, but do the alphabet.
We're done the game.
I like the game. Jay and I played another time.
Like Q, X, and Z would be a little tricky.
Ah,
Yeah, that's just
cute.
like.
The Queen Mom.
No.
I liked her.
Is she dead?
She
You said
is.
you liked her. Oh my gosh.
Peace out.
I didn't know
R.I.P.
that.
Queen Mom.
Yeah, that's a tough one there.
All right, so let's switch gears a little bit here and talk about what we've been watching lately. And since Kathy and I both watch Wicked, I've got a lot to say about this Wicked thing, Kathy.
We can't give any spoilers away.
I won't give any spoilers,
Yeah.
but I'll let you start, Kathy, because I got some involved, in-depth stuff about Wicked that I want to talk
There he
about.
goes with Cisco and Ebert. So Chris Moore asked why I was going to see Wicked, and I don't think I had a good answer. Now, if I had to answer again that question, I would say, because I said something on the spot, like pressure that I like the movie. They're my
Spotlight
favorite.
was on,
Right.
yeah.
Spotlight was on. I was
Lights were too bright. Yeah.
But what I should have said was they did a heck of a great job with marketing and I fall for all of it. I go into Target and I was like, oh, look at the Lego set, look at the pretty little costume or whatever. So the marketing, I think, was a grab for me. Two, Wicked is a timeless, or Wicked. The Wizard of Oz is a timeless movie piece. Although I was terrified of the Wizard of Oz. I mean, terrified. So, and then I also had seen the Broadway play Wicked. So I like the movie. So those are really the reasons why I went to see it. Now, my opinion of it, right? I did not know. This isn't a spoiler.
You have to say spoiler free.
I think this spoiler. I don't think this is a spoiler, but there's going to be another movie. I don't think I realized that there was going to be a second movie. So
I didn't either.
you need to. I think that's important to know when you see that movie, that the story is not finished. And I don't want to give it away, but I don't feel like I was.
Something happened.
Yeah, Jay, you got a busy street, but I feel like I wasn't as wowed as I wanted to be with the first one. I think it was good. The actors are amazing. The singing's amazing. I don't know. I just felt like I wanted to be a little more wowed than I was. I think it was long. It was, 2 hours and 40 minutes, and I had an extra seat, and I had two kids saying, "Nah, I'm not doing it. I'm not sitting there for 2 hours and 40 minutes." So that was a tough one, but. That's what I had to say.
Just before you go, Jay, obviously I didn't see the movie
because it was 2 hours and 4 minutes.
But I did get the offer from her and declined it first, and then she said she had an extra ticket because Tristan didn't want to go. And I look up the movie and I saw 2 hours and 40 minutes and was like, absolutely not. So that's kind of what drove me away. Also, I heard some mixed reviews, heard singing, dancing. I don't know if it's my cup of tea. I've seen The Wizard of Oz, I'm sure, but I don't really remember it.
You might not
have. Never seen Wicked. I don't really know the lore too well. So it wasn't my type of movie, but I'm sure the people that are diehard Wicked, Wizard of Oz liked it.
Yeah. It's worth seeing.
Yeah,
I'm not saying it's not worth seeing.
On the thing of getting people to the movies, I think people should go to the movies. I'm an advocate for that.
Yes. To see whatever. Yes.
Yeah, anything. So, if you have nothing to do on a weekend, it could be weekday too. Yeah, I'll go to the movies. Especially Thanksgiving weekend, it's a big weekend for the movies.
Go to the movies instead of shopping. So although it's sold out again this weekend, I was looking on there, it's sold out again, Easton again.
Was it really?
Yep.
I think they've done a terrific job.
Yeah, I think they'll make good money on that. I don't know how much they spent. But.
Even the whatever. I didn't even know if the Green Witch had a name in the Wizard of Oz besides.
It's funny.
Yeah. I think that in Wicked, in Wizard of Oz, I do not like that Green Witch. I do not like her at all. But in Wicked, I like the Green Witch. Well, for now, I like her.
So, Dylan, here's what I would say. I would say go back, and you could probably find the Wizard of Oz on all the streaming things.
Mm-hmm.
Watch it, and that'll kind of give you a baseline, and then either go watch Wicked or wait till it comes out, whatever.
I think seeing the play kind of messed me up a little because I really like.
Well, let me ask before I say all this because my review's pretty long and in depth. Let me ask you this, Cathy. Were the songs that were in the movie the same songs from the play? All the songs?
I couldn't. It's been a while since I saw it on Broadway.
I know Defying Gravity is iconic, and I love that.
Great.
Because I knew about that before all this. So, yeah. But what about all the rest of the songs? Were they in the play?
I'd have to look that up. I'm not sure, but I know I was pretty wowed at the Broadway show. But Broadway's a whole new other thing. Plus, I could not, because I was so terrified at The Wizard of Oz that Wicked was kind of like the psychological backstory. Well, I feel like I went to therapy and I could get over the flying monkeys and the Green Witch.
It's a prequel. Of,
yes, it's an imagined prequel. Because the timeline that is created in Wicked was never written in a book. The Wizard of Oz was a book, and then there was a sequel to it was a second book to The Wizard of Oz that was never a movie.
I didn't realize that.
Yep, there were two Wizard of Oz books. I just learned that as I was reading about all
before.
this.
Dorothy and
Yeah,
the Tin Man and the
yes,
cat looking dude.
yes. This is
And
about
and then
the
Oz.
good witch and the
Okay.
bad witch.
And in the advertising, they say on the preview, they say, if you've ever wondered what happened in Oz before Dorothy landed. So
Yeah.
they were hoping that to get the audience that had already seen The Wizard of Oz, even if you hadn't seen the play, to say, oh, I wonder what did happen before The Wizard of Oz.
Yeah. So obviously this isn't spoilers because The Wizard of Oz was out a million years ago. But like Oz is like the town that they're in The Wizard of
Yeah.
Oz.
Oz is the whole land, this magical land.
And then
And
there's like
the
a
Emerald
tribe.
City is the kingdom where the wizard lives, within the land of Oz.
He's the Wizard of Oz.
Yeah.
But there was that one movie with like James Franco called Oz.
That was like the reimagined version. With him and Mila Kunis. Yeah,
I didn't see that.
Okay.
yeah, it was okay.
I don't know why I remember that movie, but I did.
So it's a land in the Emerald City,
and then
which is all green.
She's not in Kansas anymore. She lands up
Yeah.
there.
This one isn't about Kansas.
No. Okay. I got it now.
So, okay. I liked the movie. I did not love it. My whole desire to see this was because I have not seen the play. I've seen The Wizard of Oz more than any other movie I've watched in my entire lifetime. That's not surprising, Cathy, because it was made in 1939. So probably from the age of 5, I've been watching it every year or whatever since then. I watch it now. If I see it come on now, I won't watch the whole thing, but I'll watch it.
I can't handle her. Margaret, what's her name?
Margaret Hamilton.
The witch?
She's too much for me.
So here's my thing. And there's a reason why I asked you if all the songs that were in the play were the songs. Now, interestingly enough,
I need to look that up.
it did not feel like it was long to me. It did not feel like I didn't. I was. There was. I know it's a musical. I get that, but to me, and now bear with me because I'll explain why. There's way too much singing and dancing for this musical. Now, Dylan, the original is a musical also, but here's the difference. And it's funny, Cathy, when there was like somewhat towards the beginning where there was a lot of singing and dancing, I thought, okay, here's a good place for me to go take a bathroom break. So I got up, went to the bathroom. As I'm standing there in the bathroom, I'm thinking to myself, wait a minute, Jay, you love music, but why don't you like musicals? And I got to think about it. And then I'm like, and I'm asking myself this.
I got the answer. Sorry.
So I'm asking myself, why did I like the original so much more as a musical versus now? Well, there's 2 reasons. Number one, my perspective of The Wizard of Oz, the original, was from that of a 5-year-old kid watching it. So I was not the movie connoisseur that I am at 57, obviously. And number 2, most of the songs that they sing in the original Wizard of Oz are part of telling you the story. In other words, they're not singing just to sing, because this is a musical and we're supposed to sing about any little thing. They didn't do that for the most part. Like every time she meets a new character, that character would sing a song and explain how he ended up in the predicament that he's in. So the song was telling you as part of the story. It was necessary to understand that character. Whereas with this one, for the most part, other than Defying Gravity, which I thought that whole last 15 minutes of the movie with that whole thing was fantastic. With this movie, the songs were not telling you anything about the story. So every time they would sing, the story would come to a screeching halt. And I'm all about story. I would much rather dive into the story than watch all these special effects and visual 3D and IMAX. I don't care about any of that. I want to feel the story. And I want to, just like if I'm listening to music by itself, I want to feel the story of the song. Just like in a musical, you can give me a musical and I'll like it if it does one of 2 things. Number one, like the original Wizard of Oz, the songs are telling you part of the story. You need those songs to understand the plot. They didn't do that with this.
Yeah, that's true.
Or, as they do with music in a lot of movies, they use the music and or the song to heighten the emotion of that scene. It really brings that emotion to a build. Most of the songs didn't do that. It was just they could have taken those songs out and shortened it to 2 hours, and it would have been.
Want me to give you the answer of the songs?
Yes.
So here's what they're saying: the movie we just saw is the first act of the Broadway play.
I did know that. Yes.
But it says in adapting Wicked for the screen, many fans assume that some of the songs would either be cut out or turned into dialogue, but the Broadway score is entirely intact.
Okay.
And there are no new numbers sprinkled in the
Okay.
film.
So that explains why they did it, and I understand that from a trying to be true to the play. I'm not saying they were wrong. I'm just saying that's not all that extra music that doesn't do anything for me personally. Didn't do a whole lot. Now I did find out as I've heard other people on other podcasts review this, a couple really cool things actually. That Wicked was actually the play was written in the 80s, like mid 80s sometime. Yes, and they wrote it as fan fiction, as like, hey, I wonder what would happen if and their angle was because like we see in Wicked how well it's kind of true in both the Wizard of Oz and the Wicked. The Wizard of Oz, without giving too much away, is shady. And their take was that they were saying that Wicked really happened and that the Wizard of Oz was a version that the wizard was telling the public in order to trick them. It was rhetoric. You know what I mean? Because the wizard, I don't want to give too much away, Dylan. He's just shady. I'll just think very general and say he's shady. So yeah, there's that. And then I started thinking, we never in the Wizard of Oz we never knew the Wicked Witch of the East's name, who got the house dropped on her.
Oh, yeah.
Well, we find it out in Wicked, which is cool. The girl in the wheelchair. The girl in the wheelchair.
What?
Yes, that is the character supposedly who Dorothy kills with the house.
Wow.
Did not know that.
There you go.
And we know. I always assumed for all of my whole life that the East and the West were the wicked witches, and the North and the South were the good witches, because Glinda's the good witch of the North. We know that from the Wizard of Oz. But they never mentioned in the Wizard of Oz the Witch of the South at all. But the second book that Frank J. Baum, who wrote the Wizard of Oz, he mentions this Witch of the South, who was also actually a wicked witch. So there was really 3 wicked witches and 1 good witch. Glinda overthrows the Witch of the South, so now there's more balance.
Hi, it's a compass.
And
so I'm guessing, Jay, when we're done the next movie, we're gonna be like, yeah, that was good. But I think this is just a setup. This movie's a setup.
Here's what I've learned. Also, I was listening to a podcast when I was getting in the shower tonight, getting ready for our podcast. That Act 1, just like, and you can probably confirm this, Cathy. Act 1, like Wicked, what we saw Friday, was very Glinda centric. It was more about Glinda because, to me, as a character and as a performance, Ariana Grande stole the movie. I was so blown away by her performance. Act 2 is, okay, how does Elphaba, the Wicked Witch of the West, as you and I know her, how does she get from that to the Dorothy part? So
right.
Act 2 is very Elphaba centric.
Right.
And the lion cub, that's the cowardly lion. And it never occurred to me. That's the baby version of what becomes the cowardly lion. And how did I not know that? How did I not realize that?
I didn't know that.
I don't think you watched the movie.
Dang, Jay, how did I miss all
I
that?
didn't either until I was listening to another podcast. And they're like, oh, yeah, the lion cub that.
No, look, when we go see it next year, we're going to forget all this.
But I really, really liked how they did throwbacks. So when they put the little lion cub in the basket on the bike, that was like they were putting Toto in the bag on the bike, the basket
I
on the
didn't.
bike.
I didn't.
And they told you how the yellow brick road became the yellow brick road, how they determined
Yeah,
the color.
I caught that. I was
Yes.
paying attention on that one.
So those things like that, the little Easter eggs that they were throwbacks to the Wizard of Oz, I
I
loved.
didn't pick up on the Easter eggs. I failed as a moviegoer. I didn't pick up on the Easter eggs. I was so into my popcorn and snow caps and soda.
I mean,
missed
that's
some Easter eggs.
respectable. Yeah,
Yeah,
fair
I
enough.
missed some Easter eggs.
And I liked how they gave Adina Menzel and Christian Chenoweth
Oh yeah,
roles in
yeah.
this one because they were the original on the
Play.
Wicked play. Yes.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Stay tuned. Part two.
I was yes, it had too much singing, dancing for me because it didn't do anything for the plot. That's just my personal preference. However, the throwbacks to the original Wizard of Oz I really liked. The scene where they go to the dance and they've talked her into wearing the hat, and so then all the kids she shows up at the dance and everybody's making fun of her, and Glinda in that moment realizes, man, she's given me this magic wand to get me into the class with the headmistress, and I've treated her badly. So she walks out there with her and does that crazy dance with her so that she's not alone. And I'm thinking, number one, Glinda just grew her heart like the Grinch. Her heart grew 10 sizes right there. Although Glinda was not bad, she just was very self-centered and spoiled, and yes. So
Barbie like.
that scene was fantastic because you could see they connected right there. They became friends without a word being said. That was fantastic. The Defying Gravity at the end. I've heard that song before. I never really paid attention to the lyrics. Love that song. There's some very personal lyrics in that song that kind of.
Dylan wasn't with us, but Marty and I went with Matt to Broadway when he was here in May. And we went to there's this off-Broadway restaurant, and a lot of people have probably been there, called Ellen's Stardust Diner. And it's
I've been there.
Have you been? Yeah. So they sing. So one of the waitresses is a backup in Wicked. Usually they're off-Broadway people, but this was one of the ones that was in Wicked. And she came up and did that song. And she had a broom, and they were blowing wind on her, and she was unbelievable. And I'm like, I can't even eat my food because I'm just so into this production of this girl standing in the middle of the restaurant doing that song. That song is so powerful. And they had a green light on her, and it was really so good.
And it was cool
about the movie, Jay. Maybe this is the danger, and Chris kind of warned us of this. Sometimes it's really hard to go from Broadway to movie, or movie to Broadway. And I wonder if you're watching, because I've been there. If you're sitting there watching it in person, right? Like we're watching the dance numbers on the screen and the music, but when you're watching it in person, the dance and it becomes part of the whole experience. Those song and those dance acts. Where you're in the movie, I get what you're saying. Like when they're doing the song in the original one, if I only had a brain, or whatever the song is to describe what's happening.
Yep.
It's different when you're watching this show on a stage. So that's probably the hard transition from stage to screen.
I just had another thought, and I lost track of my thought. I liked it.
It's worth a watch.
I did like how they explained how the monkeys got their wings, because when they first showed the monkeys, it didn't dawn on me that they didn't have wings, and in the Wizard of Oz they had wings. So I'm thinking, because it took a minute to realize, oh yeah, in the original Wizard of Oz they had wings. They looked a lot more evil in this one than they did in the old one.
Shoot, man. They were evil in that first movie. I didn't like that monkeys either. Which are the monkeys? Oh, it's just my whole childhood.
Oh, I know what I wanted to say. They actually sang live. So in other words,
did they?
It was not recorded track that they put in the background. They sang live, literally, just like they had like dialogue recorded. They were singing. So that scene, Defying Gravity, when she kind of jumps across the thing and that she's being running away from the people trying to chase her. She Cynthia Erivo did her own stunts with the cables and all. So she's
I,
in the air, flying through the air, literally, and singing. Her voice is amazing
well,
too.
something's pushing on her stomach because she's flying. They are both such amazing singers.
Um,
Gosh.
and Ariana Grande did an interview where she said she had to relearn how to sing because Glinda in the Broadway play Kristen Chenoweth is very operatic. Ariana Grande's not.
Right.
It's a whole.
Yeah.
She said it's a whole different mechanism to singing. So she had to relearn how
Wow.
to sing as Glinda. Not she wasn't Ariana Grande singing and just happened to
Yeah.
be playing Glinda. She was singing as Glinda. I'm telling you, I would not be surprised if at the very least she's not doesn't get nominated for something because she just
Both of them,
she
really.
steals the show because like the girls on the other podcast were saying that Glinda stands out, and it's interesting how it's Go Linda at first, and
Yeah.
then she changed. When they introduced her, I'm like, wait a minute, where's that A coming from? And the whole
Yeah.
time I'm thinking that's not her name. That's not her name.
Yeah. I
And
know.
then they explained it within the movie. So I'm thinking, okay.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, it gave us a lot to talk about, so it must be worthy of seeing.
I gotta
Yeah.
I might have to watch it. I don't know.
yeah, watch the original, Dylan. You'll see it's a musical, but it's not like most of the music is necessary. There
Yeah.
might be a couple songs that are it's kind of the reverse. Most of the songs are necessary for the plot in The Wizard of Oz, whereas with this one, most of them are not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Performances.
and you got to think about this too. The original Wizard of Oz came out in 1939. Like color as a regular thing on TV didn't occur until the 50s. So
Mhm.
for 1930, and the movie starts in black and white, and it's so perfect. She's in Kansas and she's with her family, and she's having trouble with the neighbor who doesn't like her dog, so she runs away. And as she lands in Oz, she opens the door to her house, and like the inside of her house is black and white. She opens the door, and it's the brightest color. And back when, like, probably I want to say, if I was five, that would have been 1972. So 1972. Although there were color TV, that was pretty. Everybody had color TVs pretty much. But how they used the fact that color was a new technology, literally a new technology in movies to introduce this land of Oz, it made it look so brighter and more. We look at it now, the special effects are terrible. It's 1939, but because this thing called color comes flying at you out of nowhere, you're just like, oh, you're even
Very.
now you're still wowed by it
Yeah.
Yeah.
because you go from one extreme to the other. But it's kind of cheesy and corny, but it's
It's movie history. It's movie.
it's like
pop.
the most like one of the top
Yeah.
5 iconic movies that's ever been made. Judy Garland, the whole tragic story that plays
Yeah.
Dorothy in and of itself. It's just
And like those shoes, did you see they just auctioned off? Well, there's like 5 pairs of those shoes.
well, it's
going around.
interesting. They weren't ruby slippers in the movie. They were like crystal diamond. They weren't ruby slippers.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
And the
Yes.
real ruby slippers are actually at the Smithsonian.
Well,
But those it's just iconic pop culture, good stuff.
yeah.
If you're a movie fan.
I would say to anybody who's watched the original Wizard of Oz, go see it. I liked it. It was a good movie experience for me. Even as much as I did not enjoy a lot of the singing, dancing, it did not feel like it was 2 hours and 40 minutes to me. Just like with some of the Marvel stuff that was longer. Well, the Infinity War did not seem like 3 hours. It flew by.
Yeah.
Endgame was too long. But this one didn't seem like it was long to me. It got better as it went because
That's true.
most of the extemporaneous music was towards the beginning. So they got past that, and after that, it was more the meat of the story. And it's kind of that age old thing that the person who's different is deemed as lesser. This girl was green, and so she was lesser, and they automatically picked on her. And she pretended she built up this wall where she pretended like it didn't bother her. But Glenda knew, as messed up as a person in her own way as Glenda was, Glenda knew she's it bothers her. She just doesn't want anybody to know it bothers her. So there's that age old thing where if you're different, you're picked on, and if you're different, you're lesser. And I yeah, and then the wizard wants to take advantage of that, and then comes to find out, not only is she not lesser, but she's greater because she's got powers that nobody else has, without giving too much away.
And there's the boy, the cute boy that comes into play.
See, that's the thing. The cute boy comes into play, and they've got to sing about it. It has nothing to do. You're not advancing the story. You're not telling us anything. We know
But
you.
it's like the prince meets the princess.
Yep.
And blah, blah, blah.
And Wicked.
Yeah, there's
Who played the?
I don't even know that character.
Yeah, I don't know him either.
But he's kind of like
John nothing.
I'm
Well,
beautiful.
the kid that had the crush on Glenda is actually Ariana Grande's boyfriend in real life.
No,
Ethan Slater, the redheaded munchkin boy. Ethan Slater, that's her boyfriend in real life.
Never in a million 100,000 years ever would I have guessed that. Never, ever, ever guessed that.
And another quick little story: the one guy, his name's I'm hoping getting his name right. Bowen Yang, who's on Saturday Night Live. He plays one of the groupies, one of Glenda's groupies, the kid with the glasses.
Yes.
The SNL dude.
Yes. Well, at first he was not allowed to be in the movie because Lorne Michaels, the SNL guy, said, nope, as long as you're filming with Saturday Night Live, you're not allowed to do movies. So, but Ariana Grande called Lorne Michaels and said, listen, it's a smaller role. She said, is there any way to do this? And she talked him into letting Bowen Yang do the movie.
She hosted this season too.
Yep.
I wonder what the theory is behind not letting them do movies, or they're worried they'll get popular.
And Michelle Yeoh, who played the teacher,
wizardy teacher,
didn't want to do it at first because she says, I can't sing. I don't fit. I don't want to do it. I'm not good enough. Ariana Grande and Cynthia Erivo got on a conference call with her and said, you've got to do it. And talked her into coming to do it. The whole process of filming took a year.
Oh yeah! Wow, fun facts for you.
That is
nice.
So yeah, if you guys, like I said, if you guys have seen the original Wizard of Oz, go see it. I don't want to scare anybody off. I enjoyed the movie. I didn't love it. I didn't have, because I had not seen the play. I probably did not have. Probably didn't anticipate it as highly as Cathy did. I was looking forward to seeing it because I was interested to see how much like the original Wizard of Oz it was like, and there were some tie-ins for sure. There were some original things, which I kind of understand. That kind of is to be expected, but it's definitely worth going to see. It's sold out everywhere. It's going to do Barbie numbers for sure.
Oh, yeah, it will do well.
Yeah, it's if you've got kids, especially younger kids, for sure, they'll love the singing and dancing. Yeah. So anyway, before we get out of here, I want to wish everyone a safe and happy Thanksgiving from all of us at Easter Short Talk. And you got all you Castles in the Castle household, have a safe and happy Thanksgiving. And go see Wicked, and keep tuning in. And thanks for catching us, and we'll catch you next time, guys. Take care.
Thank you.
Happy Thanksgiving.